So, the good thing, which is really good. So, people ask me why I get the New York Times, and the answer is right here. I adore the New York Times wedding and celebrations on Sundays. There was a blog that I used to read all the time called Conceit, which did it. However, the guy doesn't seem to have done it, so I'm going to do the entry. This is quite fun. So this is Callum Benepe and Jessica Bard. It appeared in the Sunday, August 13th, 2006, from the New York Times. Here's a picture of the couple. Don't they look happy? Okay, so it is a fact known to kids everywhere, and therefore worthy of repeating, that one family's home is a designated neighborhood hangout. For Jessica Tyler Bard, that place is the something where they describe the apartment. Come on, people, we're not New Yorkers, okay? In the early 1980s, Ms. Bard would hang out there with Simon Benepe, her best friend from school, and his older brother, including Callum, a musician known for his banged-up leather jacket, rotating hair color, and ever-changing roster of blonde girlfriends. That's where Kara would say something kind of mean. Ms. Bard, now 40, mind you, keep this in mind throughout the whole thing, okay? She's 40. Has always been sweet on Callum Benepe, who played in a punk rock band called The Stimulators. They connected a few times at parties. Yes, the New York Times is talking about some people having sex in the 80s. I love it. But she never achieved girlfriend status. 1985, Mr. Benepe went to Los Angeles to pursue a music career, ended up as an extra on shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I guess the Stimulators just didn't tickle in LA. Ms. Bard, in turn, she became a food writer and cooking instructor, where she lives with her dad. Note, the bride is 40, lives with her dad. She and Mr. Benepe saw each other only twice over the next 15 years at family functions at the Benepe loft. Though they flirted, nothing came of it, and he returned to the West Coast. In 2000, she heard that Mr. Benepe had moved back with his family. Ms. Bard, who had just ended a 9-year relationship and was longing for what she called the real deal, immediately thought of Mr. Rotating Hair Color Girlfriends. The real deal. And was thrilled at Callum's return, but she learned that he had come to New York with more than his leather jacket. Now there was a fiancé. Leather jacket, fiancé, you know. She fell in for another wrong guy. Notice pattern. 2 years later, that relationship had fallen apart. Which one? Oh, just then Mr. Benepe, having broken up with his fiancée, heard that Ms. Bard was living in Milan near his brother Simon's home and called her out of the blue. See, I thought this was... Apparently there's a town called Milan in New York. Very confusing. Anyway, so he calls her out of the blue. He just, was thinking about her. He was just thinking about her, okay? Was she free? Oh, why, yes, she was. He arrived... I've been going fairly verbatim. Anyway, he arrived at her father's farm at 9 p.m. with a 6-pack of beer and the news about his fiancée's exness. After blasting rock music and looking at each other's websites on Mrs. Bard's computer, they wandered off to explore the farm. At one point, Mr. Benepe recalled telling her, "The chances of us being single at the same time are pretty slim, so we should act on it now." So they did. Okay, that's with the verbatim for now. Let me just keep this clear for you guys, okay? So a couple of 40-year-olds, this man shows up with a 6-pack. The question this week is, if you're the guy, which 6-pack do you use? Is it not something nice? Something kind of... It's a tough question. I mean, my personal feeling is... Actually, I was going to say Dogfish had 60, but not everybody likes that, so... girl of my dreams, here's the thing. He didn't just call her out of the blue. I mean, you call somebody out of the blue and you're like, oh, I'm just going to show up with a 6-pack and we're going to water the ground and then hook up behind the barn, behind your dad's barn. And yeah, he totally wasn't expecting that. These are adults. These are 40-year-olds being wooed with 6-packs and having sex behind the barn. So he offered to help, Mr. Benepe offered to help Ms. Bard and her father renovations on their barn. He and Ms. Bard drew close together as they worked together. By week's end, she had achieved girlfriend status. So, you know, how many times do you have to have sex with someone before you're going out? Well, 7 maybe? 5. Anyway, he also became a city country, blah, blah, blah. He was willing to remove a 25-foot hedge of forsythia. He in turn marveled at her artistic endeavors. Look at this, Mr. Benefy said, proudly holding up a matchbook cover that Mrs. Bard had decorated, replete with dog and cat decals. 40 adults. Matchbook covers with little decals. They were married on the Milan farm, so too cheap to rent a space. August 5th, a glorious summer day when the humidity did not even... the service ended with a procession led by the couple and a bagpiper to a tent near the renovated barn. Didn't rent a church, didn't rent event space. There awaited an elaborate potluck. Didn't hire a caterer, didn't rent a church, didn't rent an event space, didn't hire a caterer. An elaborate potluck feast organized by Miss Bard and Jan Fleming, the director of the annual Greenwich Village Halloween Parade and a longtime family friend. Each of the 250 guests was asked to take a dish they would serve a minimum of 8 people, which they registered on the couple's websites that wouldn't run a risk of repeats. Oh, Jessica has cooked for every single one of these people for years, Ms. Fleming said, so I said, let us give back to you. And there's a big list of all the food. After dinner, everyone rocked the night away in the renovated barn. The couple's first dance was to Mambo No. 5. The words, a little bit of Jessica, here I am, a little bit of you makes me your man, seemed especially fitting. Actually, apparently it took quite a bit of her to make him her man. At the reception, the bridegroom's mother recalled Ms. Bard's frequent visits to the Chelsea loft. She's almost always been a member of the family, she said, and now she is. New York Times, bringing people together, bringing together 40-year-olds that still live at home and are too cheap to get, like, an event space and church and caterer. I mean, do they ask for both a gift and a pie or whatever? I'm not... But this is hilarious, and therefore I highly recommend reading the Times wedding announcements if you do, like, ooh, Times on the web, you know, I can't pick up the $5 or whatever a month or a week for the Sunday Times. Or if Veiled Conceit ever comes back up, you should definitely watch that. So, the address on that is nytimesweddings.blogspot.com. It's pretty funny. Anyway, that's it for now. So, all right, I'll see you later. Bye.